Friends, I see a lot of reels on Instagram these days from people who have lost their jobs because of artificial intelligence or who have been laid off because of an internal restructuring. Now, I like the fact that quite a few of these people are being positive about the entire situation, but most of them are quite distressed. They have been looking for jobs for the last 3 to 4 to 6 months and nothing really is moving. The job scene is gloomy. They are desperate and they want help. So I thought, let me make a quick video on some of the points you need to remember if you have to make a career comeback. So in this video, friends, I'm going to cover 9 points on what you should remember if you have to make a comeback. Now, I'm going to be talking about 9 points and I'm going to be referring to this piece of paper where I have written down my points. Point number 1 is own what went wrong. Let me repeat that. Own what went wrong. Now, friends, whenever such a thing happens to you, you are very bitter. You are very angry. You are very frustrated. You feel that, hey, I was putting in 12 to 14 hours a day. Why did this happen to me? I was putting in so much of hard work. My performance was great. But you need to take a step back and assess what exactly went wrong. You may be putting in a lot of hard work, but the company wanted somebody maybe who worked smart and not hard. Your definition of top-notch performance doesn't match the company's definition of top-notch performance, right? There's a very famous saying that if you keep blaming others for what has happened to you, well, then your journey hasn't started. If you blame yourself for what has happened to you, well, then your journey has started about 50%. If you don't blame anybody for what has happened to you, well, then you're on the right track, right? So friends, don't blame anybody. In fact, take onus for whatever's happened. And here what I would suggest is that don't associate yourself with your designation and your company. So let us say that you are a senior project manager with Infosys or Wipro or one of these large IT companies. Don't associate yourself with your designation in that company, because that's what people do. Friends, companies can hire you, but that particular industry cannot. So associate yourself with that particular industry, right? For example, this example which I gave, this person is from the IT industry. You could be from the FMCG industry, from the pharma industry, from the BFSI space, from the BPO space, right? Because remember, companies can fire you, but the industry cannot fire you, right? So don't associate yourself with the company and the designation. Associate yourself with the industry you belong to. So that's point number 1. Own what went wrong. Point number 2, step back before you step forward. Let me repeat that. Step back before you step forward. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, friends, again, what happens out here is the moment this happens to us, the very second day, because of the pent up energy and the pent up anger, we sit on our laptop and we update our CV, we go to linkedin.com and start applying for jobs helter-skelter, right? My suggestion is that take a step back, take a break for a couple of days. Don't touch your laptop for a couple of days. Let things settle down, cool down. Because if you don't do that, at some point of time, you will get burnt out. Some point of time, you will get frustrated because you are not thinking in the right manner. You are so angry. You are so frustrated as to why this thing has happened to you. You are emotionally so charged that you will not take the right decision, right? So my suggestion would be that the moment these things happen to you, take a break for a couple of days. Now, I'm not saying that you go to Goa or you go to some hill station. No. Within your city only, maybe go to the nearest mall and take a stroll there. Have a coffee there. Go to that temple which you have been thinking to go to for quite some time, right? So take a break for a couple of days, cool down, let the entire thing sink in, and then start off your job search process, right? So friends, that's point number 2. Step back before you step forward. Point number 3 is be honest about your gaps. Let me repeat that. Be honest about your gaps. Now, friends, here is where you need to do a serious assessment of why this thing happened. Now, this could be because of 3 or 4 reasons. Number 1, a skill gap. There is a serious skill gap if you're in the IT industry. Maybe you don't know coding. Maybe you are weak in agentic AI or whatever. I'm not a technical person, so I'm just giving examples out here. So there is a gap in your skills. Number 2 could be there is a gap in your soft skills. Maybe you don't communicate well. Maybe you don't articulate well. Maybe your presentation, there's a lack in your presentation abilities. You're not able to present your ideas very well. Number 3 could be your relationship building abilities. You're not able to form a relationship with your bosses or rapport with your bosses or with your investors or with your clients. right? So these could be the two or three reasons because of which you have been asked to go, right? Now you need to seriously sit down and identify and put a finger on this particular reason as to maybe this was the reason because of which this thing happened. And had it not been there, maybe you would not have been laid off, or AI would not have taken over your job, right? So that's point number three. You need to identify or be honest about your gaps. And from this comes point number four, which is fill those gaps with the right skills. Once in point number three, you have identified what went wrong. Was it skill? Was it soft skills? Was it your relationship building abilities? Start building on those skills, fill in those gaps, right? Now, if it's technical skill, well, you could enroll for a course on Udemy or Coursera, and there are many other ways you can do it. You can listen to podcasts and videos on YouTube and all that. If it's soft skills, well, engage the services of a communication coach, right? If it's your relationship building abilities, well, then speak to a mentor, maybe again speak to a communication coach who can help you. And this has happened to me, and that's why I'm saying that it's so important to invest in communication skills. Because in the beginning of my career, I used to believe that, hey, I don't need to form any relationship with my bosses, I don't need to suck up to my bosses, my work will speak for itself. But I was wrong, right? There is office politics. You need to form a rapport with your bosses, your clients, and your investors, because that's a very important skill. But here again, friends, I will advise you a word of caution. Look, the moment you start working on a skill, again, don't sit the entire day working on that skill, giving 8 to 10 hours, just going through a particular course and completing it in 2 or 3 days. Give 2 or 3 hours separately every day to work on that particular skill. Balance the rest of the day. Concentrate on updating your CV, speaking to your network, applying for jobs on Naukri and LinkedIn.com, but don't, otherwise you'll get burnt out, right? Because you're in a hurry, you've identified that skill and now you want to work on it, right? But as I said, take a step back, separate 2, 3 hours in a day for this particular skill and brush up that skill, right? So that is point number four. Fill those gaps with the right skills. Point number five, get your money situation under control. Now, friends, the first panic which sets in when you lose your job is, oh my God, how will I pay my EMI? How will I pay my rent? How will I pay my child's fees? Right? How will I pay that huge electricity bill which is going to come? Right? Now, here again, I would advise you a word of caution. Sit down and take control of your money situation. Whatever expenses you can control, you need to control. If you're ordering from Swiggy, Zomato, let's say about 3 to 4 times a week, can it come down to one? If you go to a restaurant once in a week, can that be stopped for some time? Right? If you have the services of a driver, do you really need it at this point of time? Because you need to look at avenues to save money, right? So you have to get your money situation under control. That is going to be the first thing. Because I do see in these Instagram reels which I talked about at the beginning of the video, that people start panicking because their bank balance starts to come down, and I can understand that's a big worry. So you need to act and bring those unnecessary expenses. The moment you have a regular income coming in, there are certain expenses which we do because we tend to enjoy, and that's we have all the right to do that. But when we are in such a situation, you take control of your financial and do away with the unnecessary expenses. So that's point number five. Let's move on to point number six. Point number six says surround yourself with the right people. Now, friends, when you're going in through this phase of life, it is very important that you surround yourself with the right people who can motivate you and help you in this situation. One of the first thing that happens is that you start snapping back at your own family. But as I said in the beginning, you are so angry, you are frustrated. You somehow take out your anger. आप अपना सारा गुस्सा अपने पेरेंट्स पे या अपनी स्पाउस पे या अपने बच्चों पर निकाल देते हैं. This is something which you should avoid. Take out all the negative characters who people who keep telling you अरे job scene तो बहुत ही बेकार है आजकल, you will have to wait for some time. Take out all these negative characters from your life at all. Speak to people, speak to your mentors who have been with you through thick and thin. And if you don't have anyone, and this happens to quite a few people, but you don't want to discuss with your family, you are one of those introverts who can't come out with your thoughts, well then discuss, look at spirituality, discuss this with God, do meditation, do some prayer. That can really help you. And one of the things that can really help you these days is technology. And you can take the help of ChatGPT out here. You can tell ChatGPT that you're going through this particular situation. What are the things you need to be careful about? Right? So that's point number 6, is that surround yourself with the right people. Point number 7 is make yourself visible and credible. Right? Friends, now this is extremely important. Of course, at this point of time, you go to LinkedIn and kind of update your profile. But at this point of time, you can't just disappear from the scene. And many people do that, right? Because they feel like they are a failure. They have done nothing in life, and why did this happen to them? They completely disappear. But you have to do exactly the opposite. You have to make yourself visible and credible. And here I would like to discuss something called the learning cone. Friends, if you want to learn something, right, you can either read a book, but by reading something, you can only learn about 1 or 2%. You can watch a video through which you can do about 15%. But if you teach what you have learned, well, then that stays here. So, as I said earlier, once you start improving your skill, whatever you have learned, make a video out of it. Right? There's no need to put it on a YouTube channel. Maybe you put it on a YouTube channel and mark it as private so that nobody sees it. But get into the habit of making a video of what you have learned. That will also improve your communication skill. Right? And if you really like that video, then maybe you could put it on LinkedIn or YouTube where people could hear your views. Right? People need to hear from you as to what your expertise is all about. Right? So you need to be, that's point number 7, is that make yourself visible and credible. Point number 8 is apply smart, not fast. Now, again, as I told you, friends, in this situation, what happens is we just open LinkedIn and Naukri.com in the morning, and we sitting there with that job to pop in and we pressing on apply. Right? You need to take a step back, apply for those jobs which are relevant to you. Identify those 8 to 10 companies where you think your skill is going to be a fit. Right? And again, you can take the help of ChatGPT. Claude does a wonderful job at it. Right? Give your resume to Claude and ask Claude that what are the 8 to 10 companies in India where your skill is a fit. Right? Take the help of technology. Right? That's something which very good you can do. So apply smart, not fast. Connect with the HR heads and the hiring managers of the companies where you want to be hired, where your skills can be used. And then post videos, as I said, on LinkedIn, because so that when people see these videos, they can make out that, yes, I'm talking to an authority in that subject. Right? So apply smart, not fast is point number 8. And finally, point number 9 is stay active and stay in motion. Friends, don't disappear from the scene. I remember when I was going through this particular bad phase of my life, I had started avoiding people because I felt ashamed. Right? I used to go for a walk in the evening, and that also I used to go at about 8:39 when it was completely dark, when everybody had gone from the society. And I used to, because I didn't want to talk to people. Now I realized today that was something not correct. You need to face people, have the courage to face people, right? I mean, heavens haven't come down because you have lost a job. It is happening to everybody, right? So you need, join a Toastmasters club, maybe join a public speaking club, right? So last point is stay active and stay visible. So friends, those are the 9 points which you need to remember if you're planning to make a career comeback. Each of them is equally important. Tell me that one point which you're going to follow from tomorrow onwards if you're going through this particular phase. And if there's any point I've missed out, please do mention in the comments below. If you have liked the video, please do give me a like. Please help me reach about 5,000 subscribers. And thank you very much. I will see you in the next one.